Chapter 29. Temple. 2 months. You're lucky it's only 2, could have been more. He's working with a new material imported from a different planet. Only the smiths in the holy city of Zanilia are familiar enough to properly work the metal. Nock's good, but strictly speaking, his metal of choice is either steel or ashwraith, Andre told Kai, and he has other projects going on. I get it, I just don't like it. We have another 2 expeditions coming up until my armor will be completed. If you had fought that panther, you'd be in a huff about having proper armor too. I'll take your word for it. I haven't fought anything above the Foundation realm yet, Andre said. At least Nock gave you some leather hide in the meantime. Kai gave him a side-eye look. This leather looks worse than the crap my dad left me with. It's not going to hold up to another panther or something similar. The so-called armor was basically tanned animal hide, thinner than his old armor if that was even possible. In most circumstances, his old leather armor probably would have been fine for most of his first year. If he had only fought Foundation realm monsters like he was supposed to and hadn't had some idiot's vines pulling the monster into his body, it probably would have held up fine for a few more trips. It's not meant to. You're not supposed to be jumping power realms when fighting. It will hold up fine against Foundation realm enemies. Just try and avoid anything higher for the next 2 months. Kai couldn't help rolling his eyes at the obvious statement. He had no intention of fighting something so far beyond him again. Hey, we are going to be passing by the temple in a sec. Do you mind if we make a quick detour? Andre asked Kai. Temple? Questioned Kai. Place of worship belonging to the gods? Andre looked at Kai's confused face. The Divine Nine, the beings who brought humans to the Myriad of Worlds. Oh, I thought you meant the other gods, Kai said. Other gods? I don't think there are any more gods other than the 9. Do people not believe in Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, or any of the other religions anymore? I remember it was a huge point of contention for many. Beings claiming to be gods took humans to a new magical world. Of course, many had their faith shaken during those days. Real, tangible gods that created a miracle. The religion of the 9 had only just begun when I was a child and had not yet gained popularity like the others. Honestly, I forgot that was a thing until now. We didn't have any churches or temples in the village either, now that I think about it. I guess I'll check it out. Sure, I'm curious to see what a temple looks like, Kai responded. Before the temple, a large empty square of paved white stone surrounded a huge water fountain. Beyond the foundation, a grand staircase led from the square to a pair of giant wooden doors. Each could easily fit Nock without issue, which was impressive. Kai had honestly expected a temple for each of the 9 gods. Instead, it was a single large opulent building. Whereas the royal palace looked like a castle, the temple appeared a white marbled divine cathedral. Mosaic windows lined the outside walls, each filled with legendary-looking figures in epic stances or battles. Kai could only assume they were the gods depicted on the glass, but who knew if they were realistic images or some artist taking theatrical liberties? People were scattered all around the square. Some were talking in hushed whispers, a few sat on the fountain's edge reading. Kai even recognized a few from his classes. Apparently, they too were visiting the temple like him on their day off. An older man dressed in a dark red robe, lined with gold trimmings and a blue stole hanging around his neck, was sweeping away at the square with a broom. Kai couldn't help but think the man was being punished. At the rate he was going, it would take all day to sweep half the square. Inside is an area for each of the gods, and a separate area if you wish to pray to all at once, Andre informed him. Do the gods make appearances? Kai asked. He had never seen a god before. I've never heard of one appearing here, Andre shook his head. Heard rumors they do make an appearance sometimes, but it's mostly on other planets. There is a rumor the gods reside on Titan Prime, on a mountain so tall they can see everything. Actually, depending on the alignment of the planets, you could even see the mountain clearly from here, if only we had a cloudless sky for once. A pantheon on top of the tallest mountain. Sounds like Olympus, Kai thought aloud. Olympus? Andre turned his head in question. Ah, never mind. I'm going to go inside. Are you coming? He heard Akane's whimper. In a minute, he said to Andre. All right, I'll meet you inside. Kai watched Andre walk up the stairs into the temple, vanishing from sight. Akane whimpered again. Kai guessed she was hungry as usual. "I know you are hungry. We will pick up some food on the way back." Kai kneeled down, rubbing his hand down her back in a calming motion. "Though I'm the one who needs to be calmed down. Between Akane's eating tendencies and the armor, I'm going to be broke soon." Gods. He was a little conflicted. He was aware that the gods existed. His own parents in his first life even claimed to have witnessed them, but he himself had never seen them. It hadn't been important to him to worship or pray to these so-called divine mythical figures because other things had been more important at the time. Who cared about some absentee gods who dropped them onto a planet with monsters and then fucked off? A trial, they called it. What kind of trial causes 1/4 of the humans to die in the first 10 years? And what is a god in any case? Many different faiths describe their gods differently. Is a god an omnipotent transcendent being capable of creating anything, or a deity operating on a smaller scale? What kind of gods are the 9? Creating the Myriad of Worlds was certainly an act that Kai could not fathom, but the same could be said of beings capable of wiping out cities in minutes. Their unfathomable power might as well be divine to him. The 9 had claimed to have created over 1,000 planets, multiple suns, and countless moons all orbiting around a central planet, like a solar system, just on a much denser scale. If that wasn't an act of God, then what is? But if the 9 were truly gods, why would they allow so many humans who came to the Myriad of Worlds to die in those first 25 years? And the unknown enemy that had warranted the relocation of the willing humans, was that not something the gods could take handle? "Excuse me, young one," an elderly voice spoke. To his side, the old man who had been sweeping stood looking at him, broom no longer in hand. "Yes?" Kai had not been paying attention. He had been petting Akane and thinking, "I couldn't help but hear you speak of Olympus with these old ears. It's not every day I hear someone refer to the old gods." Kai was surprised. Despite the withered, wrinkled face, the man's purple-colored eyes were bright and clear. "You know of Olympus? Are you a human who originated from Earth?" "I'm afraid not." "Oh, I apologize. I assumed." Kai spoke truthfully. "Oh, that's new. He looks so unassuming. There's not a shred of aura or power radiating from him, and yet I can't identify him. Somehow he can block his race from showing too." The man laughed. "It's not a problem. I do look quite old, don't I?" A few coughs racked his withered body. He pounded his chest to clear it away. It is intriguing to find someone knowledgeable about the Greek gods. They were believed to be mythological figures long before the transition to this place. Even more interesting to find one so young discussing it. Perhaps you are a human from Earth instead." The old man smiled lightly. "No," Kai laughed. "I'm afraid I'm only 16. Kai told a half-truth. His mother had technically been pregnant with him early on when they came to the Myriad of Worlds, so in a way that counted as being from Earth. 16? I apologize. I thought perhaps you were an old soul like me." Kai was inwardly shocked. That statement had hit close to home. "I have an interest in history," he said. "I'm Kai, and this is Akane." "Ah, introductions. I'm afraid it has been a long time since I have met anyone new. Usually, I only converse with my brothers and sisters. Alex, priest of the 9, at your service, young one." He offered a bony hand, which Kai shook. Akane was somehow balancing on his shoulder now. She held out a paw, which Alex took and shook gently. A sandwich appeared, summoned from thin air into the hands of Alex. "Help yourself. I could hear your stomach growling, little one," Alex spoke to Akane. Without pausing, Akane devoured the sandwich right out of Alex's hand. Whimpering a little more, Alex summoned another sandwich which was instantly eaten. She jumped off Kai's shoulder into the arms of Alex. "Akane!" Kai screamed, surprised at her sudden action, betrayed over food. Giving a little laugh, "It's quite all right," Alex said. "It's a pleasure to meet both of you. Quite a pair you make. With introductions out of the way, perhaps I could interest you both a tour inside." Blinking, Kai was surprised. "I would be honored." Akane yapped once in her agreement. "What do you know of the 9? Asked Alex. "Not much," Kai answered honestly. "We didn't have any temples where I lived dedicated to the 9 or any other gods." "Oh, and why not?" Kai could only shrug in response. It wasn't something he knew or even thought about until now. There were shrines, but they were dedicated to the foxes. "But you know of the Olympians?" questioned Alex. Kai shrugged again. "Only their names and powers." "That's more than most." The two stopped right outside the large doors leading into the temple at the top of the stairs. The old man seemed to glide up the stairs without any issues. The 12 Olympians were considered the main deities of ancient Greece. Each god represented an aspect of the world or life. For example, Zeus was the god of the sky, and his daughter Artemis goddess of the hunt. Together, the Olympians ruled over many aspects of the humans, judging or bestowing them boons or curses. They would gather and discuss events and ideas on a glorious mountain named aptly Mount Olympus. In a way, this is very similar to the Nine and their seats of power on the celestial mountain. Each of the nine represents a core foundation of reality similar to the ideological symbolism of the Olympians. Alex turned away from Kai and began treading inside. Kai followed behind at a step. The air changed the moment he stepped through the threshold, stopping him. His body began to feel lighter, like his burdens and anger were dissipating into the void. A gently calm settled over his mind, relaxing it as a warmth settled into existence in the very core of his body. He was still very aware of his surroundings. Alex had stopped and watched him with interest. Kai's eyes closed as he embraced the feeling. "This feels nice. Almost like when Mum used to hold me." His mind felt like it was floating on clouds. Everything was slower around him, but also clear and focused. His thoughts turned to Lucian. Why did you betray me? Logically, he felt that he should forgive, or rather forget. It had been over 1,200 years since the events of that day. His parents were gone. He knew he held on to the resentment and anger because it gave him purpose, something to strive for. It just makes no sense. Unconsciously, Kai's hands clenched into fists, just as a sharp sting pricked his very core. His eyes flashed open. Wait, this isn't right. Kai's chest heaved like his stamina had dropped immensely. He felt his mind return to normal. Alex had a downright shocked expression on his face. His mouth was wide and his eyes large, eventually turning into a furrowing of his brow as he turned contemplative. You resisted it. I don't know if that is impressive or disturbing for someone your level and age. Either your soul and will are powerful, or you harbor a deep resentment right down to your core that the magic of this building cannot help with. I'm sorry I didn't warn you. Many come here to alleviate their sorrows or fury and reflect on it for a time. What is it? I've never heard of anything messing with my mind and body like that before. It forced my feelings to change. I remembered my anger, but it felt like it was at the back of my mind, separated in a way. It was as if I could look at my anger objectively, without my emotions clouding my mind for a moment at least, until I remembered why I was so angry. Akane appeared unaffected. She sat on the ground, looking at the two as she listened to their conversation. Alex looked at Kai with eyes of pity. To be so young and harbor such feelings deep in your soul, truly a scar against your very being. This building, Alex held his hands wide, doing a quick spin, assists many every day. Its purpose is multifaceted. It is primarily a structure dedicated to the gods, so people can pray, hold sermons, or feel closer to them. Another purpose is to give people clarity and time to think independently about events or ideas, without the mess of emotions interfering. And the last is the healing of the soul. Healing magic cannot restore the soul. It takes soul magic to do so. It always hits those who enter there first time the hardest. So will it heal my soul if I stand inside? Kai asked. Alex shook his head. I'm afraid not. Some wounds are too deep or dire for the power of this building to heal. The moment you awoke from your trance, the magic immediately stopped working on you. Your body, mind, and soul now passively resist the magic of this building, for it isn't powerful enough to aid you. Are there stronger temples or places of worship that can heal me then? Kai's eyes shone with hope. There are many, some on this planet, numerous on others. Perhaps a stronger temple could help you. But Kai, I suspect it is not physical damage to your soul that hurts you, but an injury to your spirit. These temples will not magically make the scars in your heart or spirit vanish forever, only temporarily, until you leave the building or the magic fades inside. It is up to you to forgive or forget. Fades inside? The magic is designed to reduce its effectiveness over time. In a matter of half an hour, it would be gone, no longer affecting you. In a day or so, the magic will be capable of affecting you once again. But beware, as many have done before, come too often in a short period of time, and the magic's effects will lessen the moment you enter until it eventually affects you no more. You must either seek out a stronger place of worship or wait a long time. In any case, once you leave the confines of this building, your mind returns to what it once was. So would I remember stuff I thought up in here once I leave? Kai. Of course, your mind is your own. It will be up to the individual to choose what to do with the knowledge or enlightenment they gain inside if their time spent has been fruitful, Alex answered. His voice portrayed a tone of stating the obvious. Now, I believe we have some gods to meet, shall we?